Welcome to, or welcome back to, MGBs and Other Stuff, a channel that explores MGBs and other things that interest me. Hopefully, you'll find it interesting too. If you enjoy this channel, please consider liking and subscribing. Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm finally getting around to finishing up the winterizing video. But first, I thought I'd tell you what I've done already. So I've changed the oil filter, and the coolant. Iris lives in this tiny little messy garage all winter long. It's unheated, so I take some extra measures to make sure that it survives the winter okay. And one of them is rodent damage. So I'm always really concerned with rodent damage, and this is an old garage and there's lots of access points. So at all the door seals and anything place where a mouse or a rat wants to chew to get in, I'll use this chewing repellent. And it just sprays up and around all the doors and along the baseboards. Any place where I've noticed that a rodent can get in. I will also put a rodenticide out, and I monitor those quite frequently. And if I do notice any activity at those stations, then I will set traps. The other thing I do for rodents is mint oil. So I've got a little bottle of mint oil, and I make little tinfoil cups and put a cotton batting ball or a cotton ball in each one and soak it with mint oil. It's supposed to really help with rodents. They don't like the smell, and when I come in and check on it in the winter, as soon as I open this door, I get a lot of mint oil smell. I didn't get any rodent damage last year, so I'm hoping it'll be the same this year, and I think this might really work. The other thing I'll do is tighten up any seals now, or in the car, any holes, access points. So I get some steel wool. Now, I am not a licensed proctologist, but one piece does go up the tailpipe, just so mice won't go up in there and make a home. And also where the batteries are. There's some access holes in there, and I'll stuff that with steel wool. Mice and rats really don't like gnawing through this stuff, so it's really good for that. Also fuel stabilizer, I'll fill up the tank and add some fuel stabilizer. The other thing that I'm really concerned with is moisture damage. Again, this is an old garage. Snow builds up outside and water migrates underneath the front door. So I do use these dams, and these are filled with silica. And as soon as I charge these up with water, they'll swell up to about this size, and I'll make a dam in front of the door. But that really prevents a lot of water from getting into the garage. I also use, that foam stuff. I think maybe you can see it here. That you use to insulate pipes. I'll put that around the man door and the garage door, and that helps from snow from blowing into the cracks and crevices. One of the other things I'll do to help mitigate moisture damage is I just went to the dollar store and bought a bunch of tinfoil pans and some silica kitty litter. And I'll fill those pans with kitty litter and place them under the car, one in the boot, and a couple in the cockpit. I do put a car cover on it, and I'll check this stuff frequently as well. Once it's charged with moisture, you can actually take it inside, warm it up, and it'll dehydrate again, and then you can reuse it. I also have this little satchel that that's got silica in it as well, and I'll throw that in the glove compartment. Other than that, the only other thing I'm going to do today is give Iris a bath. I will wash the engine bay down to get it nice and clean, and I will take all the vinyl things inside. I do put the frame up for the top, and that keeps the the car cover up and off the car, and so that if moisture does get in from the roof leak or whatever, it'll go off. What I'm going to do is I'll jack it up the front and jack up the back, and that'll give me access to the wheel wells. I'll give those a good cleaning out, and then I'll get as much underneath the car as I can. Oh, the other thing is that John Twist from University Motors recommends discharging an entire can of WD-40 in the engine bay. And I agree with that to a certain extent. I wouldn't discharge a whole can in it, but I will give it a sort of a light misting. That'll mostly evaporate over the winter. Well, folks, that's it for me today. It's pretty miserable out, so I'm not going to do very much outdoors today. I really do appreciate your comments and your questions and your subscriptions and your likes. I do try to respond to your comments as soon as I can. I find them very entertaining, actually, and I'm always interested in other people's experiences, and you've introduced me to things that I didn't know about and cars that I've newly discovered, especially that TR250, which I kind of fell in love with. Well, that's about it for the MG season in Ontario. I do have a couple more videos though that I want to make. One of them is going to feature things that you've mentioned in your comments. I'm going to do a little bit of a highlight of those items, and hopefully that'll be entertaining. I'm also going to make some videos about other things that interest me, and hopefully they'll interest you too. So stay tuned.